You probably pick up some cool things for yourself every now and then, right? Well, I've been picking up interesting things ever since I was a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, I collected cool things like joke books and Farrah Fawcett posters, and teeth, apparently. Check out the size of those chompers. Good thing I grew into my mouth. But now that I have adult money, I've collected a few other things that I find kind of cool, but also useful and fun. Although that Farrah Fawcett poster was kind of fun. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 of my favorite things that are kind of cool, but more importantly, how they matter in my life. Starting at number 1, this Higo no Kami knife. This is a pretty cool little pocket knife. It's called a Higo no Kami. These little blades are actually illegal to carry in Japan these days, but not too long ago, every school kid in Japan would take one of these to school. They'd have them in their school bags to sharpen their pencils. Now, this is a carbon steel knife that stays crazy sharp, and there's a reason why. It's because these knives are made in the exact same way that the samurai swords are made. In fact, manufacturing for these blades started in around 1896 because the Emperor of Japan dissolved the whole samurai tradition. So if there are no samurai swordsmen, samurai sword makers needed something to do. So they started to make things that everyday people could use, like kitchen knives, and these little babies right here. I got my little Higo knife for a very specific reason, and that is to open packages. This is my Amazon knife, and I keep it all rolled up in this shoestring here so I can find it in the junk drawer whenever I need it. So maybe you need an Amazon knife like this. Who knows? Get yourself a Higo no Kami. Number 2, this Beluga whale vertebrae sculpture. Back in 2017, I was invited to sail across the Northwest Passage on an icebreaker. It was part of an expedition called the Canada C3 Expedition. And while we were on the icebreaker, we visited a very small little hamlet called Paulatuck one day. When we got there, the craftspeople of the village brought out all the interesting things that they had made by hand, and they offered to sell them to us. So this young woman brought a carving made by one of the Reuben family members. This is a very famous carving family up in Paulatuck. This one was made by Francis Reuben, and I fell in love with it immediately. This vertebrae was probably scavenged from the shore and then left out in the sunlight to get all white. It was carved with a Dremel, but I love how it has such a happy little face on one side and a sad face on the other. And this carving reminds me that everything is temporary. Happiness and sadness, they're both temporary. In fact, just the idea that it's carved out of bone shows us that even life is temporary. I always try to keep the smiling side facing out as a reminder of the amazing experience that I had in the North, and to this day, it's still one of my favorite places ever to visit. Smile! Number 3, this washboard. So I made this. Yeah, I made this little thing after a trip to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. I saw a handful of washboard players while I was there, and I thought to myself, now there is an instrument that I could take to any jam session. So when I returned home, I found an old washboard for sale on Facebook or something like that. Then I bought it directly from the lady who watched her mother scrub clothes on this actual washboard when she was a kid. So I scoured secondhand stores for things that made noises, and bada bing, or rather ding, I had a washboard. I showed up at family gatherings and live shows ever since with this baby, and it always brings a smile from everybody that's there. And that's what life is all about, right? To get and give as many smiles as possible. And speaking of smiles, that brings me to number 4. Number 4 is my finger stash. Yeah, I have a happy one and a sad one too. Now this little story here starts with one of those introductions. I was in Las Vegas. Oh no! And my friends and I were visiting a Betty Page dress shop. While I was there, I had to use the washroom, so they let me use the one in the back of the store. And when I was headed back into the store, I could hear somebody playing guitar in another room. So I poked my head in to offer an attaboy. And I noticed then that the guy playing the guitar had a whole bunch of tattoo equipment around him. And I asked him, "Are you a tattooist?" And he said, "I sure am." I said, "Can you give me a finger stash?" He said, "I sure can." So 20 minutes later, and a lot of pain, oh boy did that hurt, plus a lot of uproarious laughter from my friends who came looking for me, I had this finger stash. And now I got this tattoo for a very specific reason. I got it so I could make people smile in literally any language, and it's worked all over the world so far, and I have a goal with this finger stash. 1 million smiles. Maybe you added to that total today. Thank you. Oh, it's also eyebrows. And then number 5, this ridiculous thing is called an automaton. It's a musical instrument from Japan that looks like, well, a sperm. See? Now, I like to think of it as the Japanese bagpipe. It's fun for one song, but you couldn't hear a whole night of it. How do you play it? Well, with pressure on this pad here, you put pressure on it and it makes noise, but then if you want to make the actual sound go wah wah wah, you squeeze the thing. Here, I'll show you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there you go. I hope that that was at least entertaining, if nothing else. Remember, your cool stuff is somebody else's weird stuff, but as long as you enjoy it, that's all really that matters. This channel is called Do More You for a reason, you know. We want you to do more of your weird stuff and collect whatever you want. Oh, and by the way, this video is an assignment for Ali Abdaal's Part-Time YouTubers Academy course, Cohort 5. If you subscribe, I'll probably get a better grade. One more thing.